Are you not convinced your ads are working? Are you struggling to see eye to eye with your ad agency? If you are, you're going to love this episode of T.E.A Talks, as that's exactly what we're going to be discussing. Let's get into it. Right, so here we are back on the famous chairs.
Yes.
Darren joins me today. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. We've added a new lamp to the studio.
We have a new bit of kit.
Every episode, a new thing.
Yes, we have. It does change a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
But no, I'm loving this new lamp. This is very nice. It's very nice. One I've had for a very long time. Really interesting topic today.
Yes.
And we've titled this one fairly boldly. We've gone with why it's not working with your current ad agency.
Yes.
Do you want to just give us a little synopsis as to why we've gone for that?
Well, so we've been talking to a lot of brands recently.
Yeah.
And we've been getting a lot of the same things from them. And we talked about this in other episodes as well, where when I'm listening to you talking to brands, I'm hearing a lot of the same things. And I think a lot of what we're hearing is that it's just not working with their current agency. So I think what I want to ask you is, can you give me more information on that? And first...
No, end of the episode. Ta-da!
Firstly, what are the first initial signs for you when you're hearing them telling you about what they're currently doing with their agency, the goods, the bads, whatever? What is it that makes your alarm bells go off and go, something's not right here? Yeah.
It's really simple. It's really simple, and it's... So often, ad agencies, marketing agencies, the little phrase I've coined, which you hear me say multiple times every week, is a lot of agencies love to put the cart before the horse.
Yes.
You hear me say that a lot, right? And that's probably the simplest way I can think of explaining it. Is if you were to put the cart before a horse. You're going to have a problem. It's not going to work, right? That horse is not really going to do a good job of pushing that cart than if it
Horses
pulled
aren't
the cart, right?
The engines in a car, they go before
exactly that, right? Well, unless you're Porsche, then it kind of works. Yeah. But what I mean by that, and there's another analogy I use, which is you don't prescribe before you've diagnosed.
Yes.
That's another one, right? It's just basically saying you don't do things the wrong way around. And all too often, marketers, that's what they do. Ad agencies. And what I mean by that is they love to just go straight into the ads. And what I see, and as you say, you're absolutely right. We talk to prospects pretty much every single day, and there's so many of the same conversations come about because it's, well, I'm working with an ad agency or a Google Ads agency or this agency or that agency, and they're doing all of this stuff for me. And I say to them, okay, but what are they trying to achieve? What does success look like for your brand?
Yes.
And actually, before when I'm speaking to a prospective client or whatever, before I will say, right, let's talk about your Google ads or your Meta ads or your SEO or your, before I talk about any of that, I'll go, hold on a minute, let's put that to one side and let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about where is the business today? Give me paint me a picture of what the business looks like, where it is, how many people there are, what sort of turnover you're doing, what sort of profit you're making, how reliant your brand is on direct to consumer versus wholesale. Like, paint me a picture of your business as a whole. And once you've done that in terms of where the business is today, also then tell me about what the histories look like. So really take the time to actually go in and explain where the business was, where the business is, and then crucially, where you want the business to be. So go ahead, think 3, 5, 10 years from now, what does the business, forget your ads, forget all of that stuff, not even just from a marketing perspective, what does the business look and feel like in 5-10 years?
But surely the ad company shouldn't have anything to do with the business.
Well, you would think that. And they should. Basically, they absolutely should. And the reason they should is because if you're trying to run ads or you're trying to do any form of marketing and you don't know what success looks like, you don't know what you're trying to achieve, how can you do it, right? And this is so often the case, is I speak to people and I go, well, okay, what is your current ad agency doing? Or what is your current, marketer doing? What, whether they're internal or whether they're an agency or whatever. I say, what are they trying to achieve? Oh, well, they're just getting us some leads. They're, they're coming up with a, they're running ads, they're just generating a sales. And I say, well, and they might have some targets, but they'll be very rough around the edges. And I say, well, do they know what they're aiming for? And all too often, They just don't. And so
they're just going with the motion.
They just go with the motion. And then so off the back of that, what you then see is they don't have budgets, because I'm like, well, what's your marketing budget? Oh, well, we've sort of assigned, either we haven't got a budget, or we've assigned 100 grand this year. And I say, well, how did you arrive at that figure? Well, we just kind of plucked it out of the sky, you know. And these are some serious businesses that will do this. Go, oh, well, we kind of just apportioned X amount, and, you know, that's what we've always done for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. Therefore, that's what we've done again. And I say, but where are you trying to go? So actually think about what the end looks like. And marketers are really bad for this, because marketers want to just sell the service, right?
They do.
And they want to just go straight in, because the whole time I'm talking to a prospect about their business, I'm not even talking about marketing. I'm a mile away from talking about anything we do, and I'm not interested in talking about Google. I say I'm not talking about Google Ads or anything until you tell me about the business, because what I want to understand is where you were, where you are, and where you want to be. And then once I understand that and say, okay, we're a £2 million business today, and we want to be a £5 million business in 5 years. Great. Then what we need to understand is, okay, now we know that the 2 million business that you are today, what makes up that 2 million? How much of that 2 million is wholesale? How much is maybe bricks and mortar? How much is direct to consumer? How much is this? How much is that? So we need to understand the DNA, the makeup of the business as a whole. Then once we understand that, they go, oh, well, we're, 50% of our business is wholesale, and we only do 10% direct to consumer, and then we do this, and, whatever it might be for your business, depending on whether you're e-commerce or depends on, how much reliance you have on e-com versus your, bricks and mortar or whatever. So then once you understand that, and you go, okay, so of the 2 million, let's say, keep the numbers easy. Let's say half of our business is direct to consumer, half is wholesale, just to keep the numbers really simple, right? Once we understand that, and sometimes the business owners I'm speaking to will know that, and they'll be able to rattle it off double quick. Other times, I don't know. I need to go and have a think. And I say, go away, come back to me, and then we can continue the conversation. I'm not getting near any kind of ads until we've got into this. Then once we understand, okay, we're doing 1 million direct to consumer. The next step, and this is all, because agencies don't do this, this is why they get it wrong, right? This is the process you've got to take. Then what you've got to do is go, okay, of the 1 million that you're now doing, right, what does that 1 million look like, and where is that coming from? And that's where we use our backbone of digital marketing concept, which we challenge the brands, and we say, well, look, how much of the traffic and the visibility and the sales and the leads that you're getting right now are coming from the traffic that you are buying, i.e. through all of your ads? How much do you own, which is the direct, repeat, returning? How much are you nurturing through what activity are you doing through social media, email marketing? Because you're nurturing those people to the sale, to become a lead, to build that know, like, and trust with your brand. And then how much are you earning, which is organic, so your SEO, when you exclude brand. So we get them to understand that concept, but that comes secondary to the wider business. So if you think of it, I think of it like a funnel. I go, let's understand where the business is overall in terms of where you were, where you are, where you're going. Once we understand that, and we've painted that picture, we're a £2 million business, we want to get to a £5 million business, great. Next step down the ladder is, okay, of the direct to consumer, which is from a marketing perspective, wholesale, different kettle of fish, bricks and mortar, different animal again. So from an online perspective, albeit that does tie into bricks and mortar in terms of footfall to a store. We then go, right, now let's look at how reliant we are on the different pillars of digital marketing to understand which levers can we pull, which ones can we influence to grow. And only once we've understood that, then we take it to the next step down, which is then when we start talking, right, okay, we can see that of the 1 million you're doing, of the £2 million business overall you're doing, 1 million of that is direct to consumer. Of the 1 million that's direct to consumer, we can see you have again, keep the numbers simple, you have a 50% reliance on traffic you're buying. Therefore, we know that 500,000 of your 2 million revenue is coming from traffic you're buying, therefore your Google Ads. Now we're at the point we're ready to talk Google Ads. Where it goes wrong is agencies don't do that. And so that process, they skip the first two parts and they go straight in and go, well, let's look at your Google Ads. We go into your Google Ad account.
They can't do that reliably.
This is why it goes wrong. And I've had 6-7 conversations this week that has echoed that sentiment, where I then say to brands exactly, well, talk me through this, and I say, well, what's your agency currently, your current agency working to? Are they working with you from a strategic standpoint? Are they looking at your commercials? Do they understand your commercials, or are they just running your ads?
So would you say that, because I don't know this, but would you say that with some agencies there could be the tendency to just want to go all in on what they supply.
Yeah.
So for example, if they are doing paid ads, they don't care if you're 100% reliant on paid ads, because if you are, that's what they supply.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they don't want to distract with the other things. And so as a business, if you from an agency perspective, it makes sense for an agency to sell what you service, right? We provide Google Ads. Oh, therefore you need Google Ads. Great, that's what you need. You need what we provide. The trouble is with that is, as a brand, and the philosophy I've always taken with Evergreen has always been, look, we will provide this service, and we used to do a lot more SEO, and that's now more strategy and all of that stuff. So our offering has evolved over the years as the industry has. But I have always been a massive believer that, look, we will offer this and this, but in no way, shape or form is what we're offering going to be everything you're going to need. And I don't want you as a brand to take that, oh, well, what you're providing, I can just solely rely on that. It's why we have this backbone of digital marketing concept, which is this free concept you can see on our website. We'll make sure we include this into the thing. But and it's a video series, and it walks you through. And much of what we include in the backbone of digital marketing, we don't do. We don't provide as a service. We don't provide email marketing. We don't provide social media. There's so many things in there that we don't do. But we still advocate the brand. You need to do it.
The fact that is detrimental to our business, it doesn't, in a sense,
but it's because it's what's better for the customer.
Exactly, it proves that it's what is good for them. Because it's definitely not what's good for us.
It's not about us. It's genuinely about what is right for the brand. And this is why we say to them, I will look at an ad account. And I can give you so many examples of brands where I've looked at their accounts and I've gone, you haven't. I mean, even you've only got to watch some of our pod episodes. I'm literally saying to them, that some of the prospects we're talking to are like, can you look at our ads? Really be interested in you work with us. And I'm like, I can look at your ads and I can better optimize your ads, but by doing that process, looking at the brand overall, looking at the reliance on the channels, I'm saying to him, you're already over 50% reliant on ads. We need to dilute that. Now, we can advise you on that, but you're going to need to do that internally, or you're going to need to bring an email marketing agency on, or you're going to need to do more socials, or whatever it is you're going to need to do. We're not going to do it, but you as a brand, you absolutely need to be doing that, because whilst we can come in and we can manage your ads and we can grow your brand, from your perspective on the brand side, you don't want to be growing your brand, but now going, we've got a 70-80% reliance of all of our direct-to-consumer.
Or 98, as we saw on the pod the other day.
But, you don't want to become entirely reliant on one channel in the same way as, as a business, as a brand, you don't want to have all of your revenue coming from one customer or whatever. You don't want all of your traffic, all of your sales, all of your leads coming from one source. So it's a balance. It's all a balancing act. But because agents, and this is, to take it full circle, the reason it doesn't work so often with agencies, small agencies, large agencies, small brands, big brands, the reason it doesn't work is because the shoe's on the wrong foot. The client, the customer, goes to the agency and says, I want Google Ads. And the agency, or whatever it is, this type of ad, whatever it is, right? I want that service. And the agency goes, I'll provide you that service. Yeah, great. Sign on the bottom line. I'll provide you that service.
Why would I not sign up for that then?
Because in doing that, no one is stopping to ask the bigger question. And if you've got someone really astute in the brand that's going, hold on, we need to have, and the bigger brands generally will have these people, but your SME brands, which is where we mostly operate, the sub 5 mil, sort of up to about 10 mil turnover is, we're not working with big blue chip doing hundreds of millions, right? With our type of brands, they might have 3, 4, 5 people in a marketing department, but will they have that role that is understands all the facets of marketing, and can actually go, right, that feels okay, we're too reliant on this channel, we need to dilute the reliance here, and so on. But it's because they don't do that. And it's why, and it's something that I when I'm talking to a prospective client, I say, look, if you come to Evergreen, if you come work with us, I say to them, look, you pay us for the paid media management. You pay us for the creative services. And in doing that, you basically get me and a couple of us on the team that from a strategic standpoint, you get our digital marketing business advice for free. basically, because we're not charging you for that advice from the very outset.
Well, I mean, I've seen you give that advice away to people who aren't even clients.
Yeah, all the time. Oh, well, but every prospect that phones up, the first thing the phone will pick and they'll go, "I want Google Ads." I love, you can tell my age, kind of, because I do that. Then we have this conversation. If you're like a youngster, it's that. But I'm still that.
I'm still there.
You can, oh, good man. Yeah. You can tell my age.
Yeah.
But the phone will ring and it'll be, "Oh, we want Google Ads."
Yeah.
And I'll just go, "Right, stop you right there. Tell me about the business. Tell me," and we go through that process. Tell me about the business. Tell me about the past. Tell me about the future. Tell me about what it looks like. Tell me about I want to know about everything apart from your digital marketing right now. Because by filling in all of those blanks, I can then get a much better sense of, okay, the role digital marketing is playing right now, the role paid media is playing right now, and the role it needs to play going forward. Because when you're thinking about growth, and when big brands are thinking, well, I want to go from 3 million to 5 million or whatever, once they understand their reliance per channel, then crucially, you can see which channels you can influence, because and that dictates the activity you need to do. Because if you're really, really, overly reliant on paid media, then you need to really start to think about, okay, are we doing a good enough job with our email marketing? And again, we can say to you, you need to go and sort your email marketing out. We can give you some ideas, but we're not going to do it.
No.
But we will say to you, you need to go because you're not doing a good enough job between your email and your social at nurturing your traffic.
Right.
Similarly, when it comes to the traffic that you own, if you're a brand that's not getting a lot of brand search, increasingly when I think about SEO, when I think about the future of digital marketing, brand's key. So you need to be building your brand authority, which means you might need to do some PR, you might need to do some activations, some events. So and it starts to feed in, and all of that is outside of our remit, but we're thinking about it and we're advising our brands to start to think about it, which is why it works with our clients, because we're working in, I think a nice way, I've never put it like this way, but a nice way to think about it is we work in silo, but we think more laterally. So we work in our lane, we stick in our lane, this is our expertise, this is what we're very good at, this is what we do, but we think about the full picture. And I think agencies just go, I'm just going to stick in my lane, I'm just going to think about this and nothing else. And as long as this bit's working, then I don't really care about the bigger picture. And that is fundamentally at odds at what a brand needs, which is someone to come and go, look at all of my digital marketing, is it all working? I don't know. The amount of calls I've had, even in the last week, at least half a dozen, where they've gone, I just don't know what's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
I don't know what I should be doing. And that's what we see on the pod.
And that's the difference between simply providing a service and helping them grow in a sustainable way. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we always advocate for. Is you're not just there to just simply provide a service and not sort of even think about anything else. Because we could do that. We could very easily do that. But it's not going to be what's good for the business.
No, exactly that. We provide the service. You pay us for the service, and in paying for the service of the the lane we operate in, you get the wider business thinking and the strategy and the advice, kind of as a Brucey bonus. There you go, Brucey bonus. We love a Brucey bonus.
Put that animation in.
No, there you go. Sorry, made your editing that much harder.
So yes, last question I just wanted to ask, just to wrap us up. If there are brands out there they feel they're in this position, what should they do?
I think the first thing they need to do is go and ask their current agency. Genuinely, it's just actually go and ask them and just say, and just pose the question, like, okay, what you're doing, this type of activity, that type of ad or whatever is working, but actually, what about the bigger picture? And I think that starts internally. You start to think, if you just read the backbone of digital marketing, that's the first thing you should do actually, because then
that will, in the comments.
There you go. That will get you thinking about how reliant are we on these different pillars. Once you start to think that, and you can do this yourself, you can go into your own data and, okay, I never really realized we get this and this and this. Once you understand that, then you can start to go to your agency and pose the question. And they might be up for it and go, oh, well, we would happily have done it, but we just didn't think you'd be interested in it. But if you ask the question, they might go, oh, okay, well, actually, we have got these ideas and we have got these ideas. If they're not and they're like, no, that's outside of our remit, we're on the book here type thing, we're on the clock and we're only going to do our thing, well, then, maybe you need to think about what else can you do internally, or maybe you need, a different agency. But I think that, as I say, to wrap it, I think that is why it's one of the most common reasons why brands, small brands, larger brands, are seeing that it's not working with their ad agency. Is because they're just not thinking about the big picture, they're working in isolation and they're thinking solely in isolation. So there you go. There you go.
If there's no other solution, give us a call.
Well, there you go.
Like this.
or this, you know, more like that. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this episode of T.E.A Talks. Let us know if you can relate to this, if it resonates. I'm sure it will, because we know it does with a lot of people that pick up the phone and do call us. So I don't know, I can't get used to doing it. But yeah, I hope it's resonated. It's very topical for us, this one, because as I say, we're talking to so many brands. So hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.